Here we are again, walking up to some beautiful sights I hope that you can enjoy with me. And this whole idea is, sorry, I just got off my bike, so I've got my helmet, my hair's a mess, I'm wiping my nose. It's so funny that when I do webinars and things, we make sure the lighting's good, and you put a bit of makeup on, put some nice earrings in. So I hope you enjoyed this contrast where I'm very much not taking care of any of that stuff. But the whole idea behind these webinars is, these short videos, is living the consciousness that I talk about. Putting into practice the things that we teach and share, so that I'm walking up a hill, I'm walking up steps, but so you don't just get a webinar or a video and you go, oh, that's really nice, and then you go back to your life and same habits, the same patterns are still gnawing away at you and your desire for happiness and freedom. But hopefully if something's a little bit more real and relatable, then you see that that we're all living a conscious life as much as we can, And what I mean by that is we have patterns, yes. We have programming, we have emotions and thoughts and all that stuff. But to be living a conscious life means that you are very aware that it's about you and your thoughts and your patterns and, whoops, I'm going under a tree. And that it's not, you stop blaming everyone else for the things that are happening to you. And this is why I'm climbing up here. See this arch? It's so beautiful. And I think I gotta sit down or climb more regularly, so I'm actually fitter than what I'm feeling right now. Yeah, I've just gone through the arch, and I'll just do a little slow 360 so you can see where I am. Ta-da! Little tower there, the morning sun, and hello mountains, and beautiful, beautiful valley facing north, and there we go. Gosh, well, this is perhaps going to turn into a fitness video rather than a conscious video, right? Jaya's need to get fit. But I think what I wanted to share, because like I say in these videos, I get inspired by emails that I read in the mornings. And this morning was an early one. I actually watched the sunrise. I actually thought about filming this in the sunrise because it was a very beautiful sunrise this morning. But I had a few things I needed to do first. So I was like, no, all in good time. And here we are up on the top of a mountain with me puffing, talking about how we live this beautiful experience of being present. We have our language, we have our feelings, we have emotions, we have all of that. We have our conditioning, our thoughts, our feelings, the reasons why we believe those things are ours, or should be there, shouldn't be there, why we blame other people for things, why we blame the world for things. So it's all just conditioning, which is part of the human dance, isn't it? But to live consciously is actually to realize, that there's the universal play, the divine force, the divine harmony that's happening with everything too. This bigger view, or this bigger picture of, can I use the word God without people cringing? Because God doesn't mean this Catholic guy in the sky to me. God is that universal force, the eternalness of who we all are. The Godhead, perhaps, or the divine presence. I often use the word source and then I just laugh at myself because obviously it can be spelt two different ways and probably pronounced two different ways rather than my accent. But to live in the presence of the universe, of this eternal universal force, to be connected to yourself, to the world, to this unseen, unspoken force that's moving and in charge of everything, takes us out of us trying to fit in and get through this life, or put it down a bit smaller, just trying to even get through a day. Most people can get through a day all right, but they have this confusion of who am I? Who are you? What am I really here for? And those questions haunted me all of my life. And I was so fortunate to actually have the desire strong enough so that I actually started searching. I actually started to want the answer to it. Not just that random question in a sense of not fitting in or unease or dissatisfaction with purpose in life, working and all that. I mean, most people can have that or talk about that on their spiritual path anyway, but they don't actually then necessarily get off their butts and actually do something about it. I think in one of my videos I talked about guidance and how it's vital. If you want to learn to sing, you might take singing lessons from a guide or a teacher. If you wish to drive a car, you might take lessons from somebody before you hop behind the wheel and just decide you know how to do this, I hope. That'd be nice. So we all get guidance all the time. So why do we not get guidance on our spiritual path, which is perhaps, I would say, the most important, our spiritual connection to everything, especially to ourselves. And in my humble opinion, spirituality definitely should be taught in school, but not in the sense of just one faith, but in the sense that the universal force, the universal faith, which basically is that you are a divine being, and if you know that, if you practice knowing that, then everything else starts to make more sense. Everything else in your life that you might be questioning, like, why is this happening to me? What's my real role here? All those kind of questions, they actually all start to make more sense because you're not hungry and searching for something if you actually find the contentment within you now. And the only way I found the contentment, really and truly, was by actually having a practice that connected me to that silence, to that peace within myself. There's this joke that we kind of have in New Zealand, especially when I was growing up. Kids leave school, teenagers, young adults leave school. And what was very common back in the day in New Zealand, I don't know if it still is now, is that a lot of young people would then, pack a backpack and go over to Europe to go see the world, and then they come back to New Zealand before they go on to university or to get serious about careers and stuff. It was called the Big Overseas Trip Adventure, maybe, OE, Overseas Experience, I don't know. And it was very common that a lot of people in their late teens would do that, throw on a backpack and go over to Europe. And the nickname that then was around that was that they were traveling to find themselves. And then if you were kind of like laughing at that, then you were starting to say, well, they're trying to find themselves because they can't look in a mirror. Because there you are if you look in a mirror, right? So what are you trying to find? What have you lost? If you look in a mirror, you found it, right? So I mean, these are the jokes that we all said when we're smart asses, as kids all are, all laughing at each other. But it's a deeper question than that. The search and the hunt for who you are that haunts a lot of people is not just look in the mirror and there you are. It's about your deeper purpose your deeper meaning for life. You've just gone through, for these kids, they've just gone through years of study, friends and maybe a bit of partying as you do when you're young and studying and, all the comparisons of what group of friends you're in and if you're cool enough or clever enough. And then you get to this time when you're going to leave that all behind and become an adult. It's a big moment. And then it's like, well, what's this all about? Is it about the white picket fence? Is it about the career so I can be someone in the world and have a few, cool titles? Is it about the income and the status of the money and the car that I drive? And it really is a questioning moment. And I don't know if it just stops then, or is it this eternal question that we keep asking over and over again as we go through various stages of our lives. And I remember when I hit 30, and then you hit the big 50. Yes, I'm over 50. And there's all these milestones when you go, heck, what have I done with my life? and who am I? What have I got to show for it? And then you look at older people too that are now questioning what are they going to leave behind. So we question and we question. And at the end of the day, there's not too much that really means a lot compared to your happiness, compared to having lived a purposeful life. And even that, all the things that we do, the job we are in, the family we create, the family we're in, the daily activities we do, we're so quick to judge them, but it's really about who are you as you do these activities? Who are you in daily life? Now, there's a really cool story. Let's see if I get it right, because it's kind of making me realize this hunt that we have and this search, but we come back to the same place. And the story basically is there's a fisherman living in a little village on the beach, this family, and there was a kid, the son, and he was watching his dad, the fisherman, and he's like, no, life has to be more than this. I cannot just do what my dad did. I cannot just stay in this little village and be on the beach and fish. I'm going to go to the big city and find myself and find my purpose and create a wonderful life for myself. And so he did. Off he goes. And he worked hard and maybe he was successful and all this stuff. And then he started to get tired and burnt out. So he decides to go to a quiet village on a beach and perhaps to become a fisherman, to live a good, simple, wholesome, quiet, content life. The moral of the story is often we just keep looking and looking and looking, searching and searching. So it's this inside experience that we feel hungry or unsatisfied in, and we're blaming the outside for it, the work, the location, the village, the beach. This can't be it. This can't be all to life. And so then you're hungry, so you go somewhere else thinking that's going to satisfy you. And perhaps the change is great. You're now in the exciting city and there's so much going on and you can do so much and see so many people. And then maybe the story comes back to it's not actually about that. It's about who are you in all that. Could the kid have experienced contentment growing up on the beach with his family? Of course he could have. Did he need to go to the city? I don't know if need's the right term, but he did, so it's great to have those experiences. But if we can't be content with where we are at and what we are doing, that's what we need to work on. That's what we need to look at. Finding that contentment within ourselves, day by day, moment by moment, so that it just naturally reflects into our life. And I notice that in myself. I notice there's days when I'm just got this jumpy energy and I might go to read a book because I have got time on my hands right now and I can just sit down and read a book if I want to, which is like a luxury. So then I'm like, I go and pick up my book and sit outside. And then next minute I'm like, I should be at the beach. And then the next minute it should be like, I want to go inside and sort something out. And the next minute it's like, oh gosh, if I I had all this time on my hands, maybe I should bake something. And then, you know, and that's the mind jumping, jumping, jumping. Never allowing yourself just to be content and enjoy. Just take it in where you are and just enjoy where you are and fall into the deliciousness of now. And then that energy of jumping all over the place and needing to do something just settles and fades away, and you can just be content and relaxed with who you are now. I feel like this video, we've kind of gone all over the joint, but I love where we've ended up. I love that we've ended up just realizing that to live, here we go back to the beginning, here we go a full circle now. Walking and talking consciousness is about living it. So how do you live in the present moment so that you're not spending today, or even the concept of weeks and months, unsatisfied with where you are or unsatisfied with what you're doing? The greatest of satisfaction and happiness is realizing that everything's fine right now. And then when you take a moment to explore what is here right now, you realize the immense beauty that exists in this moment with you, and how lucky you are to just recognize this moment, how precious it is to just know the truth of right now. And then your whole being settles and experiences that contentment and that peace. And that is worth more than anything, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Okay, I'm going to go to the bakery. Bye.